Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm just going to show you a couple ways that I do a deep clean on my gym. The reason I want to make this video is because I see a lot of posts. I used to clean my gym one way, and then I slowly started over time developing different ways of cleaning my gym. When I'm talking about cleaning my gym, I'm talking about a deep clean of the gym. Obviously, if I'm just doing a quick wipe down or blowing off the dust, I tend to just use a rag with some cleaner, or just like an electric leaf blower. And these work really well for getting chalk out, for getting general garage grime out. But every once in a while, it's really good to just jump into the garage and do a really deep clean. So today I'm gonna cover a couple different things. First off, I'm gonna show you guys basically everything in my gym because I'm just gonna pull everything out. I'm gonna show you how I vacuum everything first. And then I'm gonna start wiping down all the surfaces, and I'll show you guys the cleaner I use for that. After that, I'm going to do the floor and actually show you guys a new way of doing the stall matting floor that's in most people's garage gyms. And finally, I'm going to show you how I take care of just a couple pieces of equipment. I have a lot of bare steel barbells, and obviously those take a little bit of maintenance. And so I'll show you both like an in-depth cleaning of those as well as what I do just kind of like on a weekly basis. So like I said before, when I'm just doing my quick, just like weekly clean or even like on a daily basis, just blowing it out with the air blower, usually what ends up happening is what I'm about to show you now, which is a mass accumulation of dirt, debris, and just bleh, in the corners. So I'll show you down here first. And as you can see, things just kind of add up over time, and things tend to gravitate towards these corners, which is why I think it's important to pull out all of the equipment prior to starting your cleanup. There also tends to be some cobwebs. I do live in Texas, so you get a lot of animals, a lot of spiders, those kind of things. So I like to use this opportunity to just kind of clean all of that out. How I'm going to actually do this is I'm going to end up using my shop vac or my rigid vac or whatever that thing's called, so that I can actually pick everything up. I'm not looking to create a whole bunch of dust. I just want to pick everything up. And that's going to include inside of these cracks, a little bit inside here. Alright, so now for the fun part. So what we've done so far is I did a vacuum. I started with like a narrow nozzle so that I could get all the cracks, crooks, and crevices. And then I went over to like a full size vacuum. I vacuumed the floor. After I vacuumed, I went ahead and washed the power rack. Again, all I'm using is, part of this is to keep my gym clean and safe from like germs and whatever. What I use is a Mr. Clean antibacterial concentrate, and I just mix it down in this bottle here. What I found is that it works really well for cleaning both soft and hard objects in the gym, and it doesn't really leave streaks, it doesn't really leave any sort of residue anywhere. One of the important things is if you're trying to actually sanitize a surface with it, you do have to leave it set for like 15 seconds before you actually wipe it off. The last thing I'm going to do before I start bringing everything back in is I'm going to go, and my wife has a cleaning channel on YouTube, and she also has a Crosswave, which is a tool from Barbell, and it's kind of like a carpet shampooer, but it's designed to work on hard floors. Now I've since thrown it away, but what I used to do is I would mix up a mop and bucket, and it was like one of those like squeegee type mops. I don't know how else to describe it. They're pretty cheap. You can find them at most general supply stores or Walmart or Amazon or whatever. And I would rig that up and I would clean the whole floor, and I'd have to do like 2 or 3 different coats. And even after doing that, there would still be some residue, there'd still be some sweat marks on the floor. What I found is by using the Crosswave, and then my wife also is a Young Living rep, and so we have Thieves Cleaner. So the Crosswave plus Thieves Cleaner actually cleans this floor better than anything I've ever seen before. That's the result of just one pass inside of the gym using the Crosswave. So obviously it gets a lot up, and as you can see from the floor, it looks pretty good, and it's super easy to do. I think it took me like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes tops, to actually just hit the floor up completely. And the best part is they don't have to completely take everything out every single time that you want to do this particular step. You could always just do this around the other equipment. The only thing I'd recommend is that if you have steel objects that sit on the surface, I would either wipe up any excess fluid right away, or move them, or just don't go near them, because it will cause some oxidation, as moisture will inevitably get trapped between the steel and the floor. Alright, so that's it pretty much for the gym portion itself. So again, do a vacuum. If you're going to do a deep clean, do a vacuum. The Crosswave from Barbell works like a champ for getting the floor looking like this. And as you can see, obviously there's still, you know, slight signs of wear, but a lot of the dirt and grime is just gone. And the Crosswave doesn't actually leave any residue. And the rack itself is nice and pretty looking. Nice and clean. So the only thing else that I really wanted to talk about real quick was how I take care of my barbell, specifically my bare steel barbell. So I'm going to get a barbell in the rack, and I'm just going to show you guys what I do, both as like a moderately in-depth clean, and I'll show you what I do on a weekly basis. So when it comes to bar maintenance for me, I have a nylon brush, and I use this. It just kind of stays on my chalk bowl. And I'll use this, and this is mainly for knocking out chalk from inside of the knurling. I also use 3-in-1 oil. I have a brass brush, and this is like a 1-inch or 1.5-inch wide brass brush. This is for getting maybe some of that rust spot that you didn't get cleaned up before. And then to apply the oil, I just have you can buy like the big box of rags over at Lowe's or Home Depot, and I just have one of those. This one's pretty big. I'll probably tear it in half before I use it so I don't waste. All that you're gonna do is like once a week, or maybe after you train, depending on how meticulous you wanna be, just use this brush. And I've already knocked all the chalk out, But you're just going to use this to get the chalk out of the knurl. Just for the sake of showing you guys, and I don't normally do this, but like put some chalk in the knurl. So that might be what you end up looking like as you come out of training. And you're just going to use this. I recommend getting one of these big ones as well that you can hang on to with a handle, because if you accidentally miss with a different brush and you catch that knurling with your knuckles, it doesn't feel very good. All right, so once all of the chalk has been knocked out, just take a little bit of oil, and you can either put it on the rag and then apply it to the bar, or you can just apply a very small amount along the bar. And then do not press hard when you do this, because you're just going to wear through the cloth, but just get it all over that shaft. Like so. Again, just looking for a nice thin coat. So when you touch it, the last thing that you can do if you want to make sure that you get all the extra is just kind of grab the bar with the rag into the knurl. This will help you make sure that you don't leave too much oil on the bar, and that's what gives you that nice grip. Now, an in-depth clean, there might end up being like a small spot. I just did this on my bars, and so there's not much to show you. But if you find a spot like right here and you want to work on that, you can use this brass brush. Now, if you're going to use this brass brush, I do recommend that you go light with it and you're just attacking that rust spot. So just kind of get in there. Might have to go into a circular motion to actually get some of the rust out. And the reason I want you to be careful is because, one, I don't want you to mess up your bar. Brass is a pretty soft metal, but still, it doesn't take too much to mess up the knurling on a barbell. So again, use the brass brush just to get out any of the extra. And then, of course, anytime that you do a little bit of bar maintenance, take a little bit of oil on a rag and put it over the area that you just worked on. Now for me, I spend 1 day a week out here in the gym just doing bar maintenance, and what I'll do is I'll just knock out any chalk that didn't get knocked out throughout the week, and then I'll apply oil. And then as needed, which usually ends up being about once per 4 months or so, I'll take all the bars out and I'll do more of an in-depth clean, again using that brass brush and knocking the rust out from inside of all the knurling. Something to remember with bare steel bars is that they will eventually and inevitably end up with a patina, and the patina is not bad. This one you can see on the inside here, there's like some pitted, not pitted, but it's just some use marks, and all that it is just like a surface, I don't know how else to describe it. It's an oxidation, but it's not necessarily bad for the bar. You can go at that with some steel wool if you really don't want to have it on your bar, but honestly, once that patina gets into the bar, it turns into one of those things that's just kind of difficult to keep up with, but that's the nature of having a bare steel bar. A lot of people don't like having bare steel because it does require this extra maintenance. I can tell you that for the last 3 years I've lived in Texas, where I have regular temperatures above 100 and regular humidity levels approaching 90%, and I personally have no problems with it. I prefer the feel of bare steel, and I think it's 100% worth the effort. That's my video. I appreciate you guys watching. Tell me down below in the comments if you do anything different to clean your gym. What kind of frequency do you clean at? And I appreciate all of you guys watching. Always remember that when it comes to garage gym equipment, you're always looking for something better, something awesome, something badass.